Welcome to our revision summary on kinetic energy. So first thing we need to know then is that kinetic energy, quite simply, is movement energy. So anything that moves has kinetic energy. Now what we find is we can actually increase that kinetic energy if the mass increases or if the speed increases. Now that all ties together with our equation that we can see at the bottom there. So our kinetic energy, because it's energy measured in joules, equals half times the mass in kilograms times by the speed squared. So what we've got to make sure we do in this calculation then is to square our speed and then make sure that we've pushed the equals button on our calculator. It's far too easy these days to make mistakes when using our calculators. So this is why if ever you have one of these calculation questions, then always write the sum you are doing on the answer sheet. Okay, so yes, you might be able to work out the answer perfectly, but just in case something goes wrong, always write down the sum that you're going to type into your calculator, because that would be worth 1 out of the 2 marks even if the calculation goes wrong. To give you an example then of the kind of calculation you might need to do, the question there, find the kinetic energy of a car of mass 1,200 kilograms travelling at 20 meters per second. So the equation we need to use is always printed on page 2 of our exam booklet. So you flip back and you find kinetic energy equals half times the mass times the speed squared. Now all we need to do first of all is write down the numbers in our calculation to make sure we get that first mark. So it's going to be half times by the mass, which is 1,200, times by our speed squared. So our speed is 20 meters per second, so it will be 20 squared. Now first thing we need to do is square the speed. So it's always good to do that and then write down your answer in a simplified version of our calculation there. So a half times 1,200 times by our speed, which is 400 after it's been squared. Then you type those numbers into our calculator and the answer we get is 240,000 joules, because we are working out the kinetic energy, remember.